All right, so in this video, I want to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. All right, there's been a lot of talk this season about Giannis should leave Milwaukee, leave the small market of the Milwaukee Bucks, and go somewhere else, and form a super team. You've heard shit from Stephen A. Smith and others that he should maybe perhaps go to the Golden State Warriors. And my thing is this: look, if by next year, not this year, but at the end of next season, if Giannis fails to make it to an NBA Finals for the third year in a row by that time, if that is the case, 2021, then there will be an appropriate conversation, in my opinion. Should Giannis leave? That's when he'll be toward that when he'll be, his contract expire, he'll become a free agent. Then that's an appropriate conversation. Stop trying to pressure these fucking guys to leave, man. I'm so sick of the media. Report the fucking news. Stop trying to influence the fucking sports world. Report. Don't get me wrong. There are certain times when you should editorialize and give your opinion. Okay, but stop making everything an opine. Stop making everything uh, your opinion about every fucking thing. You know, um, especially when you're trying to influence players to join this team and that team because you have ulterior motives or whatever. I don't know, but I digress. But going back to the point, man, in 2021, that'll be an appropriate, in my opinion, uh, topic if he fails, but not right now. All right, Giannis Antetokounmpo is making the Milwaukee Bucks relevant. He's making them relevant. Aside from that 1 year in 2001 with Sam Cassell, Glenn Big Dog Robinson, and Ray Allen when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Sixers, I think they lost in six. Some people thought that series was a little bit funny with that sixth game. But still, ever since that one season, aside from that one season, I should say, since the late 1980s, the Milwaukee Bucks have pretty much sucked. Okay, even through the days of Vin Baker and Glenn Big Dog Robinson and going all the way through Michael Redd, Ray Allen, they've sucked for the most part. But Giannis has turned it around. He's made them relevant. They went from being at least an average team a couple of years ago, and Mike Budenholzer became the coach, supplanting Jason Kidd, and he's modernized this team while they still try to keep their defensive identity, at least to an extent. And this team is gangbusters. Last night they beat the Chicago Bulls by the final score of 111-98. In that game, Giannis Antetokounmpo was sensational. He had a triple-double, the fourth of the season for Giannis, 24 points, I believe 14 rebounds and 10 assists. And he achieved a milestone. He reached his 10,000th career point. And what was so interesting about that? Well, he became the sixth NBA player to reach 10,000 points by age 25 and have also, by that time, have won an MVP award. The other five guys in that group, the illustrious group, being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Bob McAdoo. All of these players are Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, and all of these players at one point in their careers, some longer stretches than others, were considered arguably the best player in the game, even Bob McAdoo. If you look at Bob McAdoo from 73 to 76, you can make an argument perhaps he was the best player in the game. Some people say it was Kareem, but that was McAdoo's best years before the injuries took a toll on his body and his career. But anyway, this thing about Giannis leaving, why? Why should he leave? Last year, they won 60 goddamn games. All right, that was the first time in almost 40 years that the Milwaukee Bucks team won 60 games. Had Malcolm Brogdon not gotten hurt the last 18 games of the regular season, who knows? They may have flirted with the franchise record of 66 wins, which is held by the 1970-71 Bucks. That team, of course, that had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Actually, at the time, he was still known as Lou Alcindor, Oscar Robertson, Bob Dandridge, and others. Was Bob Boozer on that team? Bob Boozer, I think, might have been on that team. But last year, they did fall short in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Toronto Raptors. Remember, though, the Raptors had the guy that was playing the best basketball at the time, Kawhi Leonard, and they went on to win the championship. But this year, there's no Kawhi Leonard in the Eastern Conference, and the Milwaukee Bucks are even more dominant this season. Much more dominant, in fact. They're now sitting at a overall record of 39-6. They're on pace right now. Not saying they're going to do it. Injuries can happen. Things happen. But right now, they're on pace to win 71 games, which would be, if they were to reach that mark, the third highest win total in NBA history. And only the third team, of course, to win 70 games. And, of course, that would break the franchise record of 66 wins. Statistically, they match up with some of the all-time best teams. All right? They match up with some of the all-time best teams. And what do I mean by that? One interesting statistic that I saw that blew me away is the point differential between Milwaukee Bucks and their opponents this year. Right now, their point differential for the season is a whopping 12.7 points per game. Now, how does that compare to other teams in NBA history? Well, the 71 Milwaukee Bucks won by an average, I believe, of 12.2 points per game. The 72 Lakers, the same team with the same team with Wilt, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, and others. The team that had a 33-game win streak, won 69 games, which is still the franchise record for the Lakers. They won by an average of 12.2 points per game. The 1996 Chicago Bulls. Some people consider that team the greatest team in NBA history. Won 72 games, which is a record for 20 years. They won by an average of 12.3 points per game. The 2015-16 Warriors, 73-9, most wins ever in NBA history. Ultimately didn't win the title, but some people could say if Draymond wasn't suspended, if Bogut didn't go down, things might have been different. They won by an average of, I think, something like 10.8 points per game. The 83 Sixers, they went 65-17. Moses Malone, Julius Erving, Bobby Jones, Andrew Toney, Mark Alvarone, Maurice Cheeks. They won by an average, I think it was like a little under 10 points per game during the regular season. The 87 Lakers, I think they won by an average of a little under 10 points per game. The 86 Boston Celtics, I think they won by an average of like 9.5 points per game. The 67 76ers won by an average of more than 9 points per game during the regular season. That team, of course, has the franchise record for Philadelphia with 68 wins. So what am I saying about this? Well, what I'm saying is that the dominance right now of the Milwaukee Bucks is equal to or even statistically superseding some of the all-time great NBA teams in history. Are we selling the Milwaukee Bucks short? I don't know. Because when you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, you don't really see a lot of star power. You don't see a lot. You see, you see Giannis, of course, but Chris Middleton isn't exactly a superstar. But what you do have with the Milwaukee Bucks, what you do have are a lot of good pieces, a lot of good players who know their roles and have been playing them magnificently. This is a team that, unlike other teams in the NBA, don't really have a lot of egos. You got a lot of guys that like to play hard. You got a lot of guys that have uh, sold into the Milwaukee Bucks Budenholzer system, and it's clicking magnificently. Can this team win a championship? I think they can. I think the three biggest threats to them, obviously, are the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Sixers in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if they match up that well against the Lakers um, for a 7-game series, but you never know. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at how much they're dominating this season, it has to mean something. I mean, they've beaten the Clippers by 28. At one point in the game, they were up by 40. They've beaten the Lakers. All right. They've beaten all of the best teams in the NBA during the regular season so far. Unlike the Lakers, who have feasted on bad teams, but they are not that dominant or that impressive against teams above 500. The Clippers have lost some games they should have won, but they've beaten some superior teams, and more importantly, they're 2-0 against the Lakers, and they have their third matchup later on this week. So, if I'm Milwaukee, if I'm Giannis, excuse me, I'm staying where I'm put. I'm staying right here in Milwaukee, and I'm gonna try to build something here, create my own legacy, not help somebody else foster their own legacy. People like to say the Mamba mentality. Well, I like to think that Giannis has the Leonard mentality. He has the claw mentality. Fuck joining with you to build a super team where I get criticism if we lose and you get all the praise, Curry and Clay. Fuck that. I'm doing my own shit right here in Milwaukee. The claw mentality.